Good evening.
Call the meeting of Liberty County Board of Commissioners to order. Mr. Brown, has the meeting been properly advertised?
Yes, sir, it has.
Thank you, sir. I see evidence thereof. Let us stand now. Commissioner Stevens will lead us in our prayer, followed by our pledge.
Most gracious Father, as we come this afternoon, we want to say thank you, Lord, for letting us rise this morning. Our God, as we come, we ask that you give us guidance. Pray for our leaders around the world. Pray for the leaders that are in this room today. Pray that we make the right decision. Some may come with happy hearts and leave with burdens, but that's the way sometimes how government goes. Lord God, that if we let you lead us, we will never make the wrong decision. Let us take a solemn moment to remember John Lewis, the good trouble. God, we want to say that he was a leader. If we'll follow sometime in his footsteps, we could make this world a better place. We pray in your blessed names. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Stevens? I know we were going to do recognitions, as Mr. Mosley was working on that. Are they downstairs, or we need to come back to that?
No, just out.
Okay. Well, let's do our minutes for July. They need our approval.
Yeah.
If y'all have time to read them.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the minutes as presented.
The motion made by Commissioner Stiff, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Walter. Any further discussion? There be none, all in favor, raise your right hand, please. Minutes for the month of July are approved. Proclamation, Liberty County Great American Cleanup. Liberty, Keep Liberty Beautiful is here. I saw the article in the paper about the last cleanup. How many people were there?
For the actual Saturday, it was like 145, but with our Adopt Liberty, we hit about 250.
That was a lot of people for a
Yeah,
cleanup.
but normally, good evening, sir, I'm sorry.
I started talking. So
Normally, our Great American Cleanup can go from 600 to 700 people. The Great American Cleanup is a event that Keep America Beautiful has started, and is one of the largest cleanups around the nation, so not just here in Liberty County, in the nation. And we are proud to say that normally it happens from March to June, but because of COVID-19, it was put on hold. But these lovely ladies behind me, with their assistance, their creativity in our shirts. This is Miss Avie Powell. She designed the shirt this year for us. And our no-touch sign-in process that was designed by Miss Tressa, we are able to help to keep our volunteers safe. So they will log on online, then we can check them with a cell phone or a laptop or iPad or whatever it's called. And their information is already in the system. We hit a little button and they're checked in. So we eliminate the paper at the table or touching the pens. We also request that everyone wear masks. We have hand sanitizer out there. We are looking into buying shirts, safety shirts. We didn't have it for this particular cleanup, but we'll have safety shirts from now on that will have Keep Liberty Beautiful, or We're Keeping Liberty County Beautiful, and that will be the shirt that they wear for every cleanup from now on. So when you come out, you will be wearing your safety vest. So that'll eliminate anybody having to touch safety vests. Right now, we have some one-time use safety vests that we're giving out, and that they can reuse, but we're not taking them back in. So the only thing that we have to touch, or our site leaders, is the little reachers, because we can't give those out, is our little reachers, but before they leave that area, they're bleached and disinfected, wiped down, and then put back in the bag. So I am glad to say that we are trying to keep our staff and our volunteers safe. We even take temperatures checks out there for the volunteers and our staff.
Okay. Good job.
Good job.
We're going to read the proclamation in a minute. So you going to read it, or?
Yes, sir, I gave it to her.
Okay. You gave it to her? All right. Before you do that, I want to make what's on my mind. Two things you mentioned. She designed the T-shirts.
Correct, sir.
Yeah, and she came up with the how to register online and without. Man, some talent that we have in our community.
Yes.
Can we just applaud these young people for their, yeah. And they're just two of many, so, but we're proud tonight that you're before us, and what great talent you have. Yeah, she was talking at the 5K on Saturday about how to register online without, I said, man, you can do all that online? Yeah.
So,
I tell you what, this new norm is bringing some good stuff out to us.
Right.
It's bringing-
right, you mentioned the 5K service. So right now, they are looking into how we can register online, give them a bib number online, so when they come, hopefully, if it happened that soon, for our next September 5K, we can, for the ones that register online, we'll be able to do that. So they're looking into,
Working on that right
yeah,
now.
trying to get it free.
Yeah,
That's the
not having
problem.
to pay.
Good teaching. Good teaching. Good
And
teaching.
before we move on, we do, the Great American Cleanup right now is going from July to September now. So we're trying to do smaller groups for our Great American Cleanup. So we have another one slated for August the 15th, which will be our first plugging event for Great American Cleanup for the Liberty County. And what that is when you walk or jog and pick up paper. And when they attend, they get a nice little bag to carry their trash in as they're running. And we'll be giving out fanny packs, T-shirts, of course, and towels. All right, so Ms. Avery is going to read the proclamation.
Don't be nervous here. You're among friends.
Got me this time. All right, so the local Great American Cleanup 2020 proclamation. The Great American Cleanup is the country's largest community improvement program that includes more than 15,000 events each spring. This national program engages more than 500,000 volunteers and participants who take action in their communities to create positive change and lasting impact. Whereas Keep America Beautiful is the nation's leading community improvement nonprofit organization that envisions a country in which every community is a clean, green, and beautiful place to live, and has established the Great American Cleanup as its signature national effort for involving American citizens in improving their community environment. Whereas the Keep America Beautiful Great American Cleanup is the nation's largest community improvement program, engaging more than 500,000 volunteers and participants every year to create positive change and lasting impact in local communities. Whereas Liberty County seeks to protect its natural resources and bring people together to transform public spaces into beautiful places. Whereas Liberty County recognizes the commitment to engage citizens, civic and government officials, and business leaders to work together to end littering, improve recycling, and beautify America's communities. Whereas Keep Liberty Beautiful and Liberty County are committed to evaluate the importance of volunteerism and motivate everyone in our community to become stewards of the environment. Now, therefore, I, Donald L. Lovett, Chairman of the Liberty County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim these months as Liberty County Great American Cleanup, July through September 2020, and call upon our citizens to join in activities that promote responsible environmental stewardship and help us renew our commitment to building a better world today and for future generations, so declared on this 4th of August, 2020.
Thank you, ma'am. You did very well.
We did.
With Great American Cleanup, this is our first cleanup that we're requesting that our volunteers pick up and separate recyclables and cigarette butts. And it was probably the largest of recycling. Normally, it would just go into the trash. We actually have bags that they're bringing back the cans and the bottles and cigarette butts, and the cigarette butts are being mailed off to be recycled and into like a hard ashtray, your stuff that's made out of plastic. And if there's any cigarette left in it, it actually is being compost. And we're also doing gardens. A part of Great American is improvement. So so far we have been notified that the seeds that we put out, that we have 20 new gardens within Liberty County, and most of them are producing the vegetables or flowers. I'm just waiting for somebody to give me some green tomatoes, but we have some pictures, and if you look on our website, keeplibertybeautiful.org, you can see some of the beautiful pictures from our citizens that have planted their seeds and saw their different vegetables or flowers come to be. That's all I have.
That's a lot, that's not all, that's a lot. Yeah. Now, let's see, Mr. Brown, what the CDC says, now, everybody's a mask, so is it all right if they come stand right here? Or they need to stand, they need to stand 3 feet apart behind you?
They really do need to.
So y'all can stand just look, but just come back here with the same distance you have there. We trying to be compliant so that no, come on. So we didn't get called out because we're on Facebook Live. We don't want to get called out.
So I guess what Pat and I, we stand in the front.
That'll work.
See?
That works, yeah. Can you get a wide angle?
Hey, government is involved.
If y'all just stand where you are,
All right.
everybody should be spaced like, y'all just stand where you are.
Stand up.
Uh-huh. Yeah, y'all need, to be in the picture, y'all need to come up, yeah. Yeah. Just. Ms. Moser, you got them all?
Ease over a little bit.
You don't want us to smile, do you?
Come on, some of them holding in their stomach now.
Yeah, stop.
One more time. 1, 2, 3. And they say in the church one more time.
Thank you. We shake hands. Good job, ladies.
Good job, Karen. Staff.
Okay.
That's still our award-winning department.
Yes, they are. She is.
Okay. All right. Now let's go back up to recognition. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Mr. Murray, since let's see. You two come to the podium, please. Ms. Moses, unless you had a certain way you want to do this, I'm going to wing it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Well, Mr. Murray, will you come? You read that part, have the young man stand to the left or right of the podium, and then we'll, after you read that part, then I'll take over, okay? Well, I tell you what, let's do it this way. Tell us, give us the moment of why we're here, then let him read his,
Mr. Chair and members of the Board of Commissioners, Mr. Neely has served as chairman of the Youth Commission, and he's getting ready to go off to his his freshman year at Macon, at Ursula Macon, which is a great honor. It's a great school. And he served the commission well. So,
yeah, thank you, sir.
we all recognize him tonight.
Thank you.
Recognition of Mr. Thomas Neely. The Liberty County Board of Commissioners would like to recognize one of our youth commissioners who recently graduated from high school and plans to further his education at post-secondary level. Mr. Thomas Neely joined the Youth Commission during its inception in 2019 and has held the office of chairman since the first election meeting. As chairman, he's learned for the first time the importance of communicating, coordinating, organizing, and rallying his fellow members as a leader. Being part of the Youth Commission has provided Mr. Neely with great exposure to public service and policy making. Mr. Neely touts one of the greatest leadership lessons that he has learned in the need to be adaptive in unexpected and fluid times such as COVID-19 crisis. Mr. Neely is a 2020 honor graduate of Liberty County High School, graduating with a 4.0. His coursework consisted of AP courses while simultaneously being dual enrolled at Georgia Southern. For extracurricular activities, he participated in drama, student council, and Young Adult Liberty Leaders Employment Program during the summer of 2019. He did some volunteer work at several community events through Gia Vista and Young Adult Liberty Leaders, such as Christmas lighting and Halloween stroll. Mr. Neely will be
Trickulating.
matriculating at Mercer University in Macon for the fall 2020 and will major in business marketing and minor in creative writing.
Mr. Neely, sir, I know I can feel a vibe over here. We are
See my poker face.
we are certainly proud of your accomplishments, and we are certainly honored that you were able to spend some time with the Liberty County Youth Commission, and then certainly having served as the president. And with that very impressive bio that Mr. Murray just read, when I read that today, I was just in awe of sir, your progress, even at this young point in your life. So we look forward to great things out of it. Now, I have one thing that I told, I'm not sure you even know who Raekwon McMillan and Richard LeCount are. There were two athletes, big stars we had, and they had a ceremony for them, kind of like going away. And I said, guys, my only requirement is, when you get on TV, don't you dare tell me you're from Atlanta, Georgia.
Right. That's
Don't you say I'm from Atlanta. You say you're from Liberty County / Hinesville. Don't go claiming that. Don't even say I'm from Savannah. You can say near Savannah if you want to, but you make sure folk know you came through Liberty County, sir. I see great things for you. Now, Commissioners, I asked him to prepare to give us his own greetings, so Mr. Murphy, you will let him come to share in his own words his experience of working with the Youth Commission.
Well, working with the commission this past few months has been kind of weird with COVID and everything, but it's been a great experience overall, and it's been a lot more involvement and fun than I would have thought it'd be. It was a nice way to get more involved with the community and to sort of get an idea of what policy makers do.
Okay. My friend, COVID has taken a lot of our time. It's been taking a lot of our time, so this is new to all of us, new to each of us, so we all feel what you're saying there. Wish you well on your journey at Mercer University. Now, Commissioners, if you all want to express some words of wisdom to this young man.
Just got a question for him. Glad to have served this short time with you. You, like I say, you were very impressive. The first time we met, he spoke out, and that's what we need, is leaders to speak out. Speak your mind, but make sure you speak correctly. You did that. What would be one of the most important things you would like to leave for the followers behind you?
For the rest of the youth commission,
Yes.
or so like you were saying, for them to be active and speak out in the community. One thing I really wanted us to do is do a lot more events, which I hope we can when COVID ends, and for everyone to be more well-known and more influential.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to tell Mr. Neely, I appreciate your leadership in the short period of time that you were in our youth commission here, and hopefully you've learned something that you can take away from Liberty County and take it with you, and I wish you all the best and the luck. And just be safe out there, and always remember you were from Liberty County. And don't forget that, but I do appreciate you stepping up to the plate and being the chairman of that committee for us. Thank you so much.
Gentlemen,
Yes, I just want to, congratulate you on your, going off to college. That's a big step. It's the next step in your career. I know that you'll do well. I mean, you seem to be a very astute young man, and just stay safe. And the values that your parents taught you, the things that you know that you should do. Since you was a little boy, I like to tell the story. As a child, your parents say hot, and you don't know what hot means until you touch it. But they tell you it's hot for a reason. It's because they love you. I mean, and you're 18, 19 years old. You know what's hot. You know what to stay away from. So, just do the right thing. Always do the right thing. And congratulations again.
Commissioner Walden.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations. I guess Mercer, you're going to be a lawyer? You're going to be a doctor? You don't really know?
Business
Be
management.
in business.
Well, just remember, where you got your first pair of shoes at. I mean, you come from Liberty County, and you can tell everybody Liberty County or Hinesville or whatever. I mean, we've got a lot to be proud of, and you've got a lot to be proud of. my wife taught at Liberty and for some time, and I know if she'd have been out there, you'd have been one of her students, and you'd have been a favorite student just from listening to the things that I've heard. But, you know, always remember what Commissioner Gillard has reminded me of several times. He heard an old man say that you can't treat everybody the same because they won't let you. I mean, there's just not a way, but you can be fair with everybody. So just go through life like that and everything will be fine.
What did your wife teach?
All right.
Math.
My wife, she taught physics and chemistry.
Yeah.
Oh, I did have
What's
Miss
up, man?
Walden in my ninth grade
taught me
year,
science.
actually, or physical science.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought she was a math
taught all
teacher.
sciences, But
Yeah.
she's in Long County, just a little ways across the,
Can you tell her Thomas said hi?
but I'll tell her that I saw you.
Mhm.
Congratulations, move forward, Godspeed.
He remembered. Gentleman on the floor. Commissioner Bowens, any words of,
I'm up. Sorry, it's hard for me to talk with it. I just want to say to our chairman and to my fellow commissioners and to Thomas, you know, we've had an opportunity to get closer, you know, since the internship from the summer to, you know, us creating this youth commission. And just like that what was said about you, you know, you took the bull by its horns. And, you know, I remember the first meeting when we were looking for officers. I mean, you spoke up. And just always remember that leadership skills that you had within. And, of course, saying from our chairman, always be Liberty County proud. But don't just be proud of Liberty. Make sure that Liberty is proud of you as well. So whenever you go off to Mercer, just make sure that you represent Liberty County as well as you can, and I know you will. And always remember what I said the other day at the meeting. I know you're leaving, but you are our first chairman of this youth commission. So, you know, you will always be a part of it, and we want you to come back and help, you know, take this thing to the next level, and also mentor the rest who are still here, you know, whenever you go off to college, to let them know what to expect whenever they get there. So I just want to tell you, I appreciate you, you know, from my standpoint, everything that you've done, everything that you still continue to do. And I know one thing, what Commissioner Stevens, I know the question was, what would you leave behind? I know one thing he's ready to leave behind is the chairmanship. but I'm so proud of you, man. And for you to be the first chairman, you know, that you left big shoes to fill. But I do know that the rest of our commission will be able to, you know, take this thing to fruition. And like I said, I want to apologize. Because just like you said, we have so many different projects we had planned for the youth commission, especially during the summertime. But because of that, the big C came around, you know, it kind of halted a lot of stuff. And then, of course, now what we're doing is we're just trying to figure out the best way to move forward on a lot of things. And he's been a huge part of that. So I just want to tell you, you know, thank you. And you always be a part of our youth commission. So, hey, represent y'all the Bears, right?
Yes.
There we go, see?
That's the best, yeah. Commissioner Bowen, I know you,
Stay true to your Lord, stay true to your family, work hard, and you'll be fine.
now, before you do that, there's say you're coming, then we have this nice certificate for him too, that he knew. You do that first, Mr. Morgan, then,
Yeah, I wouldn't dare let everybody say something, and I ain't say something. But yes, I just came back with the youth commission, and you know, like what everybody's saying is true. You know, Thomas is really a great leader. You know, me coming back, he texts me, you know what I'm saying, he kept me on my heels about everything that was going on, sending me emails, keeping me up to date, even though I'm just coming in trying to figure out, you know, where we are with the youth commission. And, you know what I'm saying, he's very, he's always available, you know what I'm saying. I'll send him a text message, hey Thomas, man, hey, can you send this email out to the youth? And he's right on it every time, you know what I'm saying. Even with the Zoom calls that we have every Wednesday, Thomas is always on it. And he's always been like that. You know what I'm saying? When I met him, when I started working with the Youth and Summer Employment Program, he's always wanted to be a leader, and he's coming into himself. And you know what I'm saying? I feel like a proud father right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I'm young, I'm only 26. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just happy to see him, you know, grow up to be this leader, and he's about to head off to Mercer University and do great things there. So I just want to tell you myself, man, as your youth coordinator, youth leader, as you want to say, I'm very proud of you, man, and you know what I'm saying, continue to do great things, man, and always be Liberty County proud, like Mr. Lovett said, be Liberty County proud, man.
Good job, good job. Now,
Okay.
Mr. Neal, if you would come to, Mr. Murray. Yeah.
You get in this one.
All right, y'all got to stand up again, commissioners. Then we get to the other business.
Another photo?
Yeah.
Another photo op.
See, Mr. Murray, just to make sure we don't, if you, just slide right there. Doctor signature, okay. All right, certificate, Liberty County Board of Commissioners, certificate of recognition is proudly presented to Thomas Neely for attendance and participation in Liberty County Youth Commission Program presented Tuesday, August 4th, signed by yours truly and Mr. Larry Murray, Jr., Coordinator. So, where is it? Where is it? Mr. Brown gonna fuss at us, but hurry up. Got it? All right. Congratulations, sir. Proud of you, sir. Thank you. Proud of you. Proud of you.
Come visit now when you come
Yeah.
home. All
We
right.
should have invited your parents to come, but,
Yes. Sweet.
now, is Mercer doing online, or they doing,
They're doing physical classes.
Yeah.
A lot of changes.
oh, really?
Yeah, because, actually, Thomas, you're leaving next week, right?
11?
Two.
I'll take care.
All right. Good to see young people with a lot of talent, using the talent wisely. Yeah. All is not lost without young people.
And hopefully, you know, we could try to start bringing that good talent back to Liberty County.
Yes, sirree. You know, that's our job to make it where they want to come back.
Right.
All right, now down to some business. My friends from LCPC, we'll hear from you at this time. Let's see, it's all rezoning, so we have to go into public hearing.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second. I think you got some people downstairs.
All in favor?
Yeah,
Now in the public hearing.
yeah.
Huh?
I think you got some people downstairs, isn't it?
Yes, sir, I believe.
Joe's going to get
Joe was
them?
calling them up.
Okay, hold on then,
They're not here for this one.
okay, all right, let's go with that one then.
Okay.
All right, so rezoning 2020-19 LC, a petition is submitted by Mamie Housel, the owner, to rezone 1 acre of land from AR1 to R2A. Property is located at the intersection of South Coastal Highway and Bacontown Road, parcel 188004, located in District 1. Ms. Housel intends to split this property in half and place a second mobile home there. We've already worked out everything with the health department, so no problems with that. Here's our public notification.
This is an acre of land, you said?
Yes, sir. She wants to.
Two trailers on 1 acre?
You can do two on one.
So she's rezoning the whole acre because right now she's in AR1 zoning, which doesn't allow for less than an acre of land. So she's rezoning it so that she can cut it into 2 1/2 acre lots.
I forgot there's specific rules, but I know in the country you can do it. In the rural areas, you can do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a vicinity map. As I said, this is South Coastal Highway running this way. There's Bacontown, and there's the lot in question right on the corner. A little bit closer up, you can see there's one single-wide mobile home there. She's planning to put another one right there. As far as zoning, mostly AR1 around. There's B2 with the plant here, but yeah, agricultural zoning mostly. Which I'll mention, you know, agricultural AR1 is still a residential zoning, so this is still, you know, in keeping with the surrounding areas. Property does have reasonable economic value as currently zoned. It does conform to the JLUS. This property is designated for rural mixed use, so this would include rural housing, of course. There will not be an adverse effect on the value and usability of nearby properties. There are other residences nearby. The zoning proposal will not create an undue burden on transportation. This will not allow for short-term gain at the expense of long-term goals. This could possibly cause a domino effect. Others may want to divide their lots as well on the same route. There are no unique historical sites which may be adversely impacted. Part of this parcel is in flood zone. It's like a corner, though. It wouldn't affect the home. There is no spot zoning involved here, and unique conditions. Although the property is zoned AR1, it is already being used as a residence. This isn't really changing the use. Rezoning is really, again, just to be able to cut the lot in half. So LCPC is recommending approval with standard conditions.
Okay. All right. Just a technical question. Do you really cut it in half? Physically in half? Is that what you do?
Yes, sir. Let me see here.
Or do you just carve out a piece for the
Come on back.
new?
So she's actually having her daughter move in there.
Okay.
She's getting a second single wide home, so she's going to cut it like right that way.
Right, okay.
And then have another house here. They, as I said, we talked to the health department, and they said she has room to put in the another septic there because
Septic
they
and
got
all
a
that.
community water system here.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't find any problems with it.
Okay. All right. Just curious.
How close is that, Mr. Chair? How close is that going to be to the highway, Bacon Town Road?
Oh, now, this is Bacon Town Road right here, and this is South Coastal Highway. So up to 84, you mean?
Right.
It's a good ways down.
I think you're talking about the setback?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're talking about setbacks?
Yeah.
Let's see. That'll have to be at least, if she's using this as the entrance, which this is currently the access point, that's going to need to be 25 feet from the front here and 15 from the sides here. Basically the same distance as this one.
All right, Commissioner Stevens? I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Mr. Stevens, where does Tammy and Junior Carter live off? Where are they at?
My pointer's not working. If you go back,
Yeah, they on back.
go back
now.
where, the picture you had.
Oh.
Back. Yeah. If you go up to the right corner, Junior, see that road right there? That's where he's at. It's a road, little road going up anyway, Junior, where Carter stays at. No, I'm sorry.
I thought he
No, no,
stayed
no,
behind.
No, that's,
Oh, he stayed up Bacon Town Road.
that's Briola Road. You have to come back to your left up top.
Yeah, that's what I
It's
thought.
sitting up in there.
In there
Yeah.
somewhere.
That's not too far from where Mr. Wade Camp used to have a truck. Work on the trucks right there on the corner.
Which, and that's on 17, almost in front of Briola Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now I know where you're talking about.
It's right there in the section. Any other questions? Was there any petitioners, were there any?
No, sir.
No, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yes, sir, Chair, into the motion.
I make a motion that we follow the recommendation of the LCPC on this rezoning.
Second.
Motion to approve in a second has been given. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion passes, the rezoning is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I believe this is what we have our petitioners here for. This is rezoning 2020 LC. Petition was submitted by Mr. Claude Dryden on behalf of Dryden Enterprises, rezoned 75.97 acres of land, more or less, from AR1 to a PUD. The property is located on Isle of Wight Road, just north of the intersection with Highway 84, and it's further described as a portion of parcel 241D60. The owners are Hugh and Gail Jeffers. You may have heard this referred to as the Jeffers Tract. This parcel is located in District 1 as well. The proposed development is a new subdivision with a maximum of 232 new homes. The City of Midway will be providing water and sewer to this subdivision. Just a quick note, this went to the City of Midway last year. It was actually over a year ago now. They voted not to annex that area in, but they voted to provide water and sewer. So that has come back around to y'all.
Okay.
All right. It's a legal ad as well as our sign. Quick narrative. The proposed development along Isle of Wight will consist of one tract containing various sizes of single-family detached homes and passive parks as outlined in this general development plan. PUD zoning will be required to accommodate the uses on site, allowing the developer to increase the housing options available. Roadways, utilities, open space, wetlands, and stormwater will be designed with the entire site in mind instead of individual use. As the site plan is finalized, roadway connections, both pedestrian and vehicular, and individual use boundaries will be pushed and pulled to create a more cohesive plan. At the same time, the county can feel comfortable that density, character, lot size, and other items approved as part of zoning will remain unchanged. We'll get to a map in just a minute, and y'all will be able to get a better picture. But again, total acreage here, we got about 72.29 acres. About 63 of that is developable, and the rest of this is wetlands. Again, 232 maximum homes. It could be less than that. And density is 4 units per acre. Just to give you a quick idea of where we are, if you're going down 84 this way and Isle of Wight's just on your left here, you go up about like quarter, maybe third of a mile, and that'll take you to this tract here. There's only one access point, which I'll show you, and I'll zoom up here. So again, currently zoned AR1, as is most of the surrounding area. We've got a lot of R2 plots here. I will say, just from glancing at overhead map, I think a lot of these are empty, but they are zoned R2. Again, this is 84 right here, coming up Isle of Wight, and it's on your right here.
What kind of lots are those in the yellow?
Those are R2, which is for single-family homes.
Okay. But they're not,
As I say, yeah, I believe they're mostly owned by one person, James,
Okay.
James something Jr. I'm
Okay.
trying to remember off the top of my head, but
Okay.
most of them are empty.
okay.
All right, so as for the subdivision, so again, here's Isle of Wight Road. There's only one entrance point to this subdivision right here. Again, there are 4 types of homes: patio, single, small family, large single family, and executive. You can see the general regions that those homes will be in. So we have the smaller lots right at the front, and then they get gradually larger, and then the largest at the back. These are the proposed front setbacks. You'll see, we'll get there in a bit, but LCPC is recommending that y'all give a special condition to change this front setback to 15 feet instead of 10, as we have been doing for the last year or so. So while we're looking at the map, does anyone have any questions?
So only a small part of it is frontage to Isle of Wight Road. Most of it's off the
sir.
road.
Yes, sir. This is the only access point to the
Okay,
subdivision.
okay.
And that's that curve. Is that first curve or second curve, right?
I think it's that first curve. Pretty sure. Let me pull back to this big one. Yep, right there. First curve there.
So the fire station is gonna be beyond that?
On that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, beyond that.
Yeah, this is not even that far. Like, if you look at you know where that that fenced in place right here with the
dock stop.
docks thing, yeah, Dock Supply, Mindy Morrill, that's her right there, and then it's, like I said, maybe like a third of a mile up from here.
So that purple is the city limits of Midway, right?
Yes,
Right
sir.
there.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right, bring it back here. Actually, this might be a good point to get to next. This is a little bit closer look at the access way here. And Marcus can probably better describe what they're going to be doing there, but they'll be clearing some trees for to increase the view for people coming and going from this area. So, property has reasonable economic value, is currently zoned. It does conform to the JLUS. This property conforms to the comprehensive plan. It is designated for low-density residential use. This actually does fall in the category of low-density residential. There will not be an adverse effect on the value and usability of nearby properties. The proposed use is suitable in view of nearby uses. The surrounding properties are mostly forested and undeveloped. As far as an undue burden on transportation, possibly. The increased traffic might exacerbate an existing congestion problem at the intersection of Highway 84 and Isle of Wight Road. That's, right where the liquor store and the subway is. This would not create a short-term gain at the expense of long-term goals, would not cause a domino effect, no unique historical sites. Portions of this property are in the AE flood zone. Most of the area that's being built on is not, but portions of it are. The spot would not be considered spot zoning, and we have no other unique conditions to support approval or denial. LCPC is recommending standard and special conditions approval for this. And just to reiterate, Mr. Dryden is asking for a 10-foot front setback for these homes, for one set of the homes, and we're recommending that we increase that to 15 feet, as we have been doing with all our other subdivisions. All right. I can answer any questions from y'all.
Got questions, Chair? Have a traffic study been composed of on that road yet?
No, sir. I don't believe one is required from the current, I guess the current traffic count, one is not required at the moment.
Well, the reason why I'm asking about that one, because I noticed down at Isle of Wight and 84, with traffic like it is right now, it's a major problem.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how we're gonna handle this, but I know if this does get approved, it's gonna create a problem, because if you have someone trying to make a left turn going toward 95,
Mhm.
and that person cannot get out on 84, traffic is backed up, and also traffic is backed up on Quarterman Road.
Yes, sir. Actually, that's a good point. Let me pull back here. We're actually a little more concerned about the Quarterman Road thing because of the trash site there. And let's see here.
Quarterman Road that's on the opposite side, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, here it is. So this is the intersection right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Quarterman Road kind of dips at a diagonal right there. It's already pretty difficult to get in and out of that road specifically, but a little better here. Yeah, y'all can see here, you turn in here and it immediately jets off this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. But yeah, as I said, as far as we're aware, we're not, this traffic count isn't high enough to warrant a full traffic study yet.
Who made that determination? Were you certified in doing that?
Been doing it for 30 years, yes, sir.
That doesn't mean you're certified.
I am a certified planner.
Okay. All right. Well, like I say, I know it's a problem.
Yes, sir.
Now, also with the convenience center, to this board, will we have to, I know what I'm probably gonna hear is that they're gonna have pickup service. But what's gonna happen when we get down to the dry trash, the mattress, the refrigerator, they're gonna take it right there to the Quarterman Road Convenience Center.
Well, a new house.
It's already being overused now.
Yes, sir.
So
There's
will that put an extra burden on the county that we would have to expand that? Because it's going to happen.
Yes, sir. I believe Marcus can probably speak a little better to that for the trash, right, disposal, waste disposal. But, or does anyone else have any questions quickly before we move on?
No, I want to hear from, Marcus is going to speak on behalf of the project. He's just here for.
I tell you, I was in that road, and I frequent that area a good bit. I really never noticed a traffic jam at that intersection
I hadn't either.
on 84.
I have seen it.
On the drive. I mean, I was in there 3 times today, coming in and out. There was not a bit of traffic jam. I don't know where Mr. Stevens, and I'm sure he's seeing something I don't see. But, I've never had a problem going into Isle of Wight off that highway.
Try coming out at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Nothing's been backed up. And right now, that highway's pretty much dead. There's no traffic out there right now. It just causes this virus, maybe? I don't know. But traffic's not that heavy. I could tell.
Thank you. Commissioner, you make a good point. I happen to live on Isle of Wight Road at the back end of it, so I drive it frequently as well, at least twice a day, sometimes more. I don't see a problem at the intersection right now. Oftentimes, I'm behind 3 or 4 cars max. Now that's on Isle of Wight Road, not necessarily Quarterman Road. Quarterman may stack up a little more than that, but even if it does, to back up even a little more. We didn't do a full traffic study, but we definitely explored the traffic out there. Can I take my mask off, or do I need to keep?
Yeah,
You can take it while you're talking.
It just feels so weird. We did explore the traffic. We didn't do a full traffic study. We worked with LCPC early on, and you'll have to forgive me, the project is greater than a year old. I used to have all this stuff memorized. But we did find that Isle of Wight is underutilized as a roadway. Based on the traffic counts, I think it was somewhere 30 to 40, maybe even less than that, % underutilized. Do you remember those numbers?
The latest counts are 1,700 trips per day on Isle of Wight Road.
Yeah, so it's very underutilized. So based off of those numbers and the traffic that we see at the intersection, we didn't feel that a full traffic study was warranted. It's something we could do in the design phase of the project just to see how those turning movements work. I would expect that probably 80 to 90% of the traffic that's generated from this subdivision is going to be turning right and not left Monday through Friday to go to work. There may be some small percentage of them that turns left that heads towards 95. Obviously, if you are turning left, your wait time gets a little longer. But I still don't think it's anything that's out of the ordinary for an intersection in Liberty County.
So you don't see a need for a right turning lane?
You know, whether a right turning lane would be warranted or not, I could look at my.
I'm sorry, a left turn, left, where that when you come out, if the traffic going to I-95, if they can't make a left turn, it stalls out the rest of the traffic behind them because there's no way for you to make a right turn coming to Hinesville.
That's right. I don't think that the delay would warrant a left turn lane there. Something that we could look at when we get into the site planning process. If it did, my fear would be, based on the convenience center, where Quarterman Road is, and the fact that it's a DOT right-of-way, it would snowball into a very complex project and one that may not should be borne by one single developer. Already, Quarterman Road is probably not too much more than 100 feet from that intersection, which is a complication. We don't have a zoomed-in shot of it, but between that and the convenience center, it could get complicated in redefining that intersection there if we had to go down that road. If it were warranted, I don't think it would be. In trash collection, this will have an HOA. It will have trash pickup service. Obviously, we couldn't preclude people from using the convenience center there. That would be an impossibility. I will say that the convenience center is used a lot. There's no doubt about it. Just the other day,
By taxpayers.
By taxpayers. I asked my son to take some of our yard trash there, and he called me, and he said he was coming back home because there were 6 or 7 cars lined up on a Sunday afternoon shortly after opening. So there is, especially on Sundays, not so much during the week, but on Sundays, that convenience center is used a lot. And I can't stand here and tell you that this subdivision is going to make it better. Right, it is going to add some traffic. It is going to add some use to the convenience center. We fully realize that. Any other questions?
Questions for Mr. Sack while he's up?
Let me just ask you something, Marcus, just for curiosity. How many, from your point on into the Isle of Wight and maybe Commissioner Stevens, how many residents are behind there now? How many live in that area?
I counted them. Yeah, I counted them on Isle of Wight one time. Again, this was over a year ago, but it was, I know it was at least over 400 and probably approaching 500 residences on Isle of Wight.
So the intersection is already what you wanted, this word that you were using earlier. I mean, the intersection there has already got a little bit of an issue, but everybody's dealing with it, right? I mean, I know our job is not to worry too much about what the DOT wants to do, but right now, the road going in and out of Isle of Wight Road is sufficient to carry the traffic that's on there?
It
The city
is.
of Midway said it would be, if they'd annexed it, they would have been fine with them.
That's right.
Okay.
And the thing about traffic is, and this may go to our difference of opinion, is that traffic is subjective. Terrible traffic for me may not be terrible traffic for you. It's kind of like people that speed down the road. It's in the eye of the beholder.
Let's just say South Main and Eunice. That's traffic.
Yeah.
Do what?
I'm not trying to get in the weeds, but,
I know.
yeah, I'm saying South Main and Eunice Road,
I
like,
can show you
traffic.
But we-
600 beat trips a day on Martin Road, Stacy Drive, and Hinesville, in the subdivision I live in, 600. And I know, even coming off of Olive Street onto
Yep.
Oh, boy.
there's more than that, so I understand.
Yeah.
Traffic's not the issue, I'm just, the existing roadway going into the Isle of Wight, y'all feel good about it? And
Yes, sir.
You'll have a turning lane to go into your subdivision.
We haven't contemplated a turning lane into the subdivision, but we could certainly do that.
It'd just be like
A little turn off.
kind of like we got out on 196 and into the
Griffin Park?
Griffin Park?
Griffin Park area.
A decel lane, a full decel lane? Yeah. I'd have to ask Mr. Dryden about that. I'd hate to answer for, spend his money, you know. But it's something we could look at, even if it's a smaller version of it.
The main issue is the roadway suitable? I mean, we've got a decent roadway out there, and I think when Commissioner Gibbon and I rode up to the fire station, that's the reason why I want to look at it. I noticed that it was a pretty decent road, thanks to Commissioner Stevens. He keeps it taken care of out there, but the roadway's sufficient. Now, you know.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's impacted on Isle of Wight Road. Whenever anybody moves on Isle of Wight, the intersection is impacted. So the road was impacted 30 years ago.
Sure.
So right now, it's not gonna make any difference if it's impacted anymore. It can't go the other way, so it's got to come out to 84.
That's correct.
Okay.
And when we initially started looking at this project as having potential, we were really excited because it is closer to 84. It's not like we're on the far back end of a long road. We're up close to the main corridor where folks can get there quickly, and there's not a whole lot of pressure on the entire length of the road, like Isle of Wight has. So the fact that it's there, up close to Highway 84 is a benefit.
Yep, that's true, and those folks that get in there and get off of Isle of Wight Road, actually, it being that close to 84.
That's right.
Mr. Chair, real quick, I guess this is for Mr. Sack. Can you elaborate a little bit about the area that you all have reserved for the site distance?
I can. We do realize, I think in the ordinance, there is a requirement to have 2 entrances if you're over so many lots. And obviously, this project doesn't have enough road frontage to have a second outlet. So what we're doing to combat that is we're going to not have any lots up there where those 2 dark black areas are. We're not going to have any lots up there by Isle of Wight Road. We're going to clear that area so that we've got full visibility in each direction. We're also placing that roadway at the apex of the curve so that the driver can easily see in both directions. I think the GDOT standard is 500 linear feet of line of sight distance, and we exceed that in both directions here. Now, this is based on imagery and not necessarily full survey data because we're in the planning stages, but we'll ensure that that happens when we get into the full design.
Right. And then,
Go ahead.
I was just looking at the plans. You all said what, like 15% patio? Those are roughly around what type of square footage?
That's 4,500 square feet, so it's generally anywhere from a 40 to 45 foot front with 100 to 115 foot depth. That's the smaller house. It's usually the more affordable.
Right, that's what I was getting at. But you said, what was the square footage on the patio?
So not the house.
Oh,
lot,
okay, I was gonna say
the lot. The square footage is actually pretty high, though.
Yeah.
It's a surprisingly big house when you walk through it. Would you say 2,000 square feet on the patios?
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
good size house.
all right.
Low maintenance.
Okay, right,
Maintenance
right.
kind of thing.
I was just looking at this plan, and I know throughout Liberty County and also in Hinesville, you know, we've been looking at, you know, housing shortage, and especially looking at affordable housing. And I mean, I just wish somewhere in my district, every time I see these plans, I wish we had some raw land, but
Right.
I just don't have that.
Marcus, is this utilizing all of the acreage?
It's close. So this is a planned unit development. There are some small wetlands back there. There's a little bit of flood zone in the back, too.
Okay.
So we'll probably utilize that flood zone, make it more detention. We'll have some little pocket parks in there, so there'll be some common area. That common area will be maintained by the HOA. Mr. Dryden has had success with HOAs. I know some HOAs in the past haven't done that well. Mr. Dryden holds on to that HOA till the last house is built, and then he turns it over. And we've seen success of late with HOAs and being able for them to maintain their own common areas. It's important for the neighborhood.
So there's no room for expansion?
You know, I have said no, there's not before, and then we're working on, I think, phase 12 of Griffin Park.
Okay.
That's a little difficult for me to answer. I don't foresee an expansion right now, but it could happen.
Now, the reason why I asked that question, because if there was room for expansion, then would need to look, you all might need to look for another exit way coming out to
Yes, sir.
84. That's why I asked that
That's a good
question.
idea. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good recommendation.
Marcus, I just, that part of 84 doesn't have a center turning lane, does it?
It does come
Yeah.
into
That
Isle of
part
Wight
there.
if you're coming from
It does right there.
Hinesville.
From Hinesville? Okay, and I don't know if you can answer this question, but that's 232 houses, and, I mean, you've been in the development business. How much, how much car traffic do you think that would?
Usually you figure around 6 cars per house, not 6 cars.
Not 6 cars.
6 trips per day, right,
Okay.
per house. But let me say,
A lot of trips, I don't know.
232 homes would be the
Times
max
2.
density if we used every square foot in that development. I don't think we're going to get there. We'll be under 200, I suspect.
Okay.
But even still, that'd be 6 trips per day, and that, I think that's a little high for
Sounds like
our
young
area.
people.
I've done some traffic studies in our area, and it usually
Things
comes
to
out
do.
to average 3 to 5.
And I do know, you mentioned Griffin Park here in Hinesville, and I go in and out of there, 2 or 3 times a week, on my day job. But, and I'll just take a wild guess, over 700 houses.
You're close.
But it's not a
City by itself.
it's not a bottleneck trying to get in
Even there.
or get out. The traffic is on 196, and 196 is a state highway.
Good point.
And, so the 196 traffic takes care of itself. I think the Highway 84 being a state highway, I think that traffic would take care of itself. And any adjustment or modification that the county would have to make on a county road, which is what Isle of Wight Road is, would be something that that we would have to do down the line. But like anything, like any new development and traffic being part of a new development, it'll take care of itself. If we find out, if it's built, if we find out a year from now, 5 years from now, that we need to get permission from the DOT at the intersection to do what Commissioner Stevens talked about, put a left turn lane or a right turn lane, or, God forbid, even a traffic light. All of that takes care of itself. I mean, right now, it is no problem. You build it, and it will be some impact, but what the impact is would, it'll be what it is when it is that. I mean, you can sit here now and say, well, this is going to happen. And I'll say, not until it happens. And when it happens, that's when you deal with it. You could prepare for something that may not happen. I mean, you said 232, and then you said probably 200, so that's 32 less.
Right.
And I would think, and I'm not down there that often, coming out of Isle of Wight Road, and I don't know what the traffic count is coming from 95 going toward Hinesville, but making a right turn and getting out of there
Should be no problem.
should be pretty easy, the right turn part. Now, there is an impact from where the transfer station is and where Quarterman Road intersects to Isle of Wight Road, but, getting out of Isle of Wight Road to go right toward Hinesville should be a pretty easy transition. That's just my thought, but again, if it's not, then you make that adjustment when it happens.
That's right. I mean, obviously, we always want to, and you guys do a great job as a county to put your best foot forward when we're planning things like this. And I think if it were a larger development, there would be some mitigations that might have to occur. Not necessarily for this small of a development, even though here we think of a 200-home development as being big. It's really not that big. To your point in Griffin Park, you're exactly right. I think we're approaching 600 homes right now. And human nature would cause you to expect that there would be this huge traffic in the mornings coming out of Miles Crossing, which is the main road to Highway 196, but it's just not there. And that's just kind of how traffic works. You expect it to be a big deal, and then it's usually not.
Well, we did have to change our garbage route because of Griffin Park, but not because of the traffic, because of the number of houses.
That's right.
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to add in on Griffin Park, and there's no doubt Dryden Enterprises have been in Liberty County a long time, and they developed a lot of nice subdivisions, including Griffin Park, and that's probably one reason we'll have to do a rezone after the census, because Griffin Park is in my subdivision. I mean, not my subdivision, in my district, Mr. Dryden, but I appreciate the fact that he is willing, and they do have the staff, and I see them out there at Griffin Park cutting the grass still and keeping it clean, and also, you know, those little black dots you got there, you know, it's just clean at Griffin Park. Those folks coming in and out of there will be able to see what's coming or going.
Right.
And I've really not seen that much traffic jam at Griffin Park, and I come by there 2 or 3 times a day. So I don't have any problem with this, because I know that people are really wanting to move into this type of affordable housing in this area. And I believe that he'll do really well, and I'm glad to see it come on board on the tax base.
I'm
And it's been a
excited
long
about it
time in the making. And Mr. Claude Dryden, they've always built nice homes for people, and I appreciate the fact that they do that. And don't take it out of the community that he's been able to build them here.
Mr. Chairman, I have one other question. Joey, this is probably a question for you. The convenience center, and if, let's say, Republic or some other hauler, you know, solid waste hauler, if they contract to, you know, to pick up the garbage in there, if they're contracted with Republic, would they still be allowed to use the convenience center?
Depends on what service Republic offers in there. Generally, Republic does not offer full service pickup.
Just household garbage and not bulk trash?
And so if that's the case, they would still use the convenience center. They'd be charged only for bulk goods and dry goods to do that without.
Okay.
Yeah, but we just give them a discount if they go with a private carrier.
They just
We give them a discount, and they still use the convenience center.
That's correct. That's what I said. Yeah, they don't pay the pickup residential garbage pickup fee. They
That's
just
what we
pay
give
for the
the-
bulk goods.
Right. Give the-
And they pay that solid waste fee?
They'll still pay a portion of the fee.
Mr. Chairman, I just, you know, everybody else has got to speak, but, you know, I just for a moment, tell us what your feeling is on it as far as it going. I mean, with the industrial park 3 miles down the road, I think this would be, you know, the affordable housing. I mean, what's your feeling on, growth in that area?
Allow me, please, sir, if you will, I will do that, but let me make sure, because I see some people in the audience. Anyone come to speak on the opposite side of this presentation?
Thank y'all for hearing us out.
Thank you, sir. Who's that person?
Mr. Chairman, I want to add real quickly that we did receive a petition just a few hours ago.
We circulated it.
Yes, sir, I believe, I think y'all have copies.
Oh, I thought it was, okay,
I have.
We have had a lot of phone calls about it as well, so.
okay. All right. Who's speaking? Come on, this public
Come
hearing.
to the mic. Come to the mic.
You can take your mic off when you get to the mic if you want.
You can take your mask off, Lee.
I'm sorry.
Take the mic.
We all getting done.
The owner of the property that sits next to where they plan to make this house subdivision. And in this curve, I hear you all talking about the beginning of the Isle of Wight Road. 63 years, we've been in the curve. You've got a one-way in, one-way out, and they are going to enter this highway on this curve. That is not going to be good. That's all I have.
Could you just, ma'am, I know we got your name downstairs, but just for the audio, could
My
you?
name is Odessa Roberts Rice.
So Dessa, where are you on the, I know where Mrs. Holmes live.
We're joined to that.
You joined,
We're to the right,
you're to the right of the,
right of them.
Okay.
Past them.
okay, okay,
And that is a lot of traffic.
okay.
That curve is dangerous. One way in and one way out. Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Your name, please, ma'am, for the record?
Alice Quarterman.
Oh, hey.
I own 118 Olaby Lane on Isle of Wight Highway. And the little road that we come out, you can't hardly get out of it. by the time the car come around the curve, you have to sit there and wait a little while to see if there's a car coming. I saw one morning a bad accident. The guy have not recovered from it yet, because they were making a delivery. And the guy that was coming from Isle of Wight did not see the truck that was gonna stop for delivery, and he hit the person itself. So, and even you saying Quarterman Road, that's another part of me. If I left Oldeby Lane and went down Quarterman Road to come out, to get out, I still have an issue because I have to sit to the corner of Quarterman Road to wait for the traffic from Isle of Wight, and I have to wait for the turning traffic from 84, and the one that's turning if they coming down 195, Quarterman Road. So I think there's a bad curve there. I don't see where they can make that safe for a subdivision.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My name is Duncan Reagan, and I live on Sunshine Lake Road, and I've maintained a residence there since 1984, and I use that road every day, 7 days a week. And I hate to talk down a Claude Dryden project, because I've known Claude since 1983, and I've enjoyed every talk we've ever had. So it kind of hurts me to talk down something that he's interested in doing. He's a great guy in my book. But I think 232 houses with one way in and one way out on a limited road like Isle of Wight, it's, to me, I'm not an engineer like Mr. Sack is, but it just seems insane. I mean, it's too... everybody was expressing concern about what's happening at Highway 84, and they're at a place that we call the dump, the recycling center, and that's going to be congested. But I'm nervous and very nervous about one way in and one way out, and I'm thinking about 232 houses, a greater portion of them emptying out to go to work in the mornings on Monday, school buses coming in and out of there, kids going to school, and one way in and one way out on Isle of Wight Road. I don't see it working. It's scary to me. Give me just a second. I had one more thing. I'm 71 years old, so I don't recall like I used to. I wish there was another exit, at least. I think this is going to be a dangerous thing. And I'm also thinking about what's it going to be like. Mr. Sachs, an engineer, and Claude is an experienced builder, but I'm thinking about thousands of dump trucks going in and out of there, and heavy equipment and construction crews and all of that in the process of building this thing, while the rest of us are trying to get to work or go to the IGA or whatever. I think that sums up about everything I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Sack, you want to address any of that? And then I'm going to do like Commissioner. Let me do this while you're coming. Mr. Brown, I do know that the DOT median will be in that area. I know we don't have a timetable on that, but you might want to. I'm not sure if you all even know that.
So that area is part of the long range. It's out in really long range median enhancement project that'll run from I-95 all the way to the other county line. That section, in fact, is not one that's even in the 30% list for median improvement track. But yes, so that is in long range for that area.
Okay.
And as a note, and Mr. Ricketson would tell you this too, that any traffic light warrants or anything, since it is a state highway, have to be approved by GDOT. So, I know that there was some, requirement to put a traffic light. Obviously, we couldn't do that without GDOT on the state route. So the traffic numbers would have to warrant it before they would even consider it.
Consider it. Yeah, I was just on well, never mind. I was on talk about that. I mean, I understand the concern.
How that works, okay.
Right, I understand the concern about the traffic, but just like Mr. Ryan was saying, I mean, before you could really truly warrant from GDOT, you know, we can't anticipate it's going to be an issue. You know, it has to already be an issue already in place, so you know they could get the traffic light.
Yep.
Right. So
You have to have the traffic warrant. And this goes back to what we talked about earlier, where it's human nature to think that it's going to be all of these cars coming to the intersection at one time. When you talk about 6 trips a day, that's 6 trips throughout a 24-hour period. A lot of our residents work a night shift. They're not even leaving during the day. So in terms
Or
of
the virus has got some effect.
Well, that, but hopefully that's not a long term.
Now, they're not on the road.
That's true, that we may be moving into that, but in terms of, you know, if we go back to Griffin Park with over 600 homes, at one time.
700.
So 700.
It's growing.
At one time, there was an agreement with GDOT to put a signal there. Well, GDOT changed their regulations, and now it doesn't warrant a signal. We couldn't even put a signal there if we wanted to. So we went from being required to do it to not required to do it. In terms of one way in and one way out, Isle of Wight only has one way in and one way out.
Absolutely.
And it's over 2 bridges, right? One over 95, one over Jones Creek. Is that Jones Creek?
Yeah.
And it's not that bad. It's a nice ride. I enjoy it, at least twice a day. So I understand his position and why he thinks the way that he does, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as it is. Now, I will say this. We have had talks before with Quarterman Road. And maybe doing maybe a stop bar, some striping or something. We could work with the county engineer there, just to try to keep a gap there so folks can turn into Quarterman Road or turn out of Quarterman Road and get folks to stop short ahead of 84. That might be helpful over there. We'd be willing to work with Trent on that and see if it makes sense when we get into the design phase of this. But I think I've talked as much as I need. Anybody have any other questions?
Questions, Mr. Bratton?
Yeah.
We're discussing really to rezone. We have nothing to do with building houses. We're not going through the preliminaries or anything. We're just discussing just to rezone. We're not giving them permission to build anything.
That's great. And I was going to say that on the end, if allowed to, was that you're simply doing rezoning right now. In the design phase and everything, traffic counts, all those things will come in, decels, line of vision, all that's got to be addressed in the design phase. We'll have a chance to see that again and take all these things into consideration.
And there'll be public participation at that time also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. All right.
One final thing I'll say is when we were at the City of Midway meeting, there were several business owners there, and they were really excited to hear about this project and some other projects coming to Midway. Really excited to have some.
Yeah.
Think of the jobs it's going to create.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Thank
taking
you.
time to hear us out. I'll get out of your hair.
Okay. I want to make sure, Mr. Dessa and Ms. Corbin, this is the rezone. They have to come back when they get all the building, all those kind of things done. So there'll be a second time when you can get to go to LCPC, and then it'll come back to us again. Okay.
How many houses do I have in my subdivision?
No, I gotta leave. Just want to make sure you understood the process. Yeah, okay, for the process, all right.
Commissioners, I just want to reiterate that we are recommending standard and special conditions, with that special condition again being that the minimum front setback for all lots should be 15 feet.
Is that what your board voted on? The
Yes,
special
ma'am.
condition to 15-foot
Yes, ma'am.
setback? And,
Currently, the patio lot is the only one it's supposed to have a 10-foot, but we're recommending that be increased.
just the patio lots coming in?
Yes,
And then the rest of them have the 10,
The
is that
rest of them are
correct?
already at where we want them to be. They're already at 15 or more.
Are you, that's,
I'll pull back to that real quickly just to clarify.
that's fine. Just those
You can
few.
see up here, some of the lot standards. So front setback for the patio lots is currently 10 feet. We want to increase that to 15 feet to match with the rest of the lots there.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chairman, you ready for a motion?
I am.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the rezoning of the Jeffries Tract subdivision in compliance with the LCPC special condition.
Is there a second to the motion? Second. Motion and second, we approve LCPC's rezoning. Here we're going to try to make sure everybody's clear. This is for rezoning only. We'll come back to us, all right. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your right hand, please. Those opposed? One opposed.
Let me make, and we really need to start doing this, but for the video portion too, because it's kind of hard to see. So for that vote, there was 6 for and 1 against, just for the record, just for the video.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chair, in between this, I know we have HAMPO and everything, but is like the city of Midway in that particular area participants with the HAMPO?
Hampa?
Yeah, huh?
They are?
They are.
Okay.
They are.
Yeah, I was thinking they would.
Okay.
They are.
I was just making sure, because
They are.
I know that the reason why, because, you know, just like how they say about Atlanta, how Atlanta's full, Huntsville is almost full. So,
They got to
you
go
know,
out.
development is coming, so it's either going to be to the east or the west. So I just wanted to make sure that we had some type of representation.
Let me say this before, Mr. Dryden
I was
here.
wrong, I was wrong.
Marcus and Mr. John, we appreciate it always when a developer tries to work with the local community. So do all that you can to work with the local community. All right, because their concerns are valid. But Commissioner Gillard, I guess he sold me up when he mentioned Griffin Park. That's a huge subdivision.
Huge. And it's,
And you can come out there any time of day and not have a problem. I've been there too many times, yeah. So 200 houses is nothing compared to that one, so the traffic in and out shouldn't be a problem. But we are committed, though, Commissioner Stevens, that if we find out later on that it is a problem, we'll address it at that time.
Exactly.
Address it at that
I
time.
know just for, Commissioner Stevens had brought it up 2 years ago. There was a problem at Lewis Frazier in 84.
Yes.
Or Bill Carter at 84.
Yeah.
There was a problem. And the state didn't address it, we addressed
We
it.
addressed it.
So if there's an issue on Islands Highway,
We'll address it.
we'll address it.
Yeah.
But, let's just wait and see. I've also seen us rezone property, and it sit there for 5 years and nothing be
Nothing
built on it.
happens, yeah,
So
yeah.
let's go ahead and move forward, and I appreciate the comments from the public too, but I've known Mr. Dryden, I believe he builds a good subdivision, and I think, the zoning request was something that we needed to do, so we'll move on. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Next.
That's part of the development we have in mind for Midway, so
yes.
Well,
need some more rooftops.
I tell you, they need a Kroger down there.
All right, sir.
One more
Chairman, we just
rezoning.
need to adjourn and go back into regular session.
We do.
Wait a minute, don't we have one more?
This is not a rezoning.
No, we have one more
We
rezoning.
do have I'm sorry.
We have a third rezoning.
Natalie,
Sorry.
I thought I read ahead.
I think this is a record. 3 rezonings.
Yes, sir. Busy month. All right, so rezoning 2021, my God, 2020-21 LC, sorry about that. Petition was submitted by Natalie Madsen, owner, to rezone .75 acres of land from R1 to R2. That property is located at the intersection of Limerick Road and Lake Drive, that's in Lake George, and is further described as parcel 260B45, and the parcel is located in District 4. This is our legal ad as well as the sign out here. So just to give you an idea of where we are, this is the whole Lake George area. We're all the way out at the end there near the coastline. Or not coastline, I suppose, but water. So this is the home in question. You can see all of these homes are zoned R2 currently. This one on the corner here this is Lake Drive running this way, and this is Limerick Road. Miss Matson has access out right here at the edge of her property onto Limerick Road. So she's asking to rezone this to R2 to match what the rest of the road looks like on Limerick, because she'd like to put in a double-wide mobile home. That's currently not allowed in R1 zoning. I want to just add that there are several double-wide mobile homes right next door to her in that zoning. So this is just to give you an idea of what Lake George looks like as a whole. You can see it's mostly R2 with just R1 kind of around the edges there. R1 kind of leads to larger site-built homes, where R2 allows for either that, or they could, go with a double-wide mobile home as well. So as far as site map, like I said, her access point is like right in here. She has no access on Lake Drive, I want to point out. This is a pretty, you don't see it in the tax line here, but this is a pretty steep curve, and there wouldn't be any way to make access out onto Lake Drive from there.
They're
So,
coming off Limerick.
yes, sir. Yeah, so, yeah.
I got you.
All the way down Limerick. Ms. Mattson also went and spoke to her neighbors and got a petition signed of people who were, in favor of her rezoning. That's her right there, and then I just marked off on this map the neighbors that signed that petition asking for her rezoning to be approved. The property has reasonable economic value as currently zoned. It does conform to the JLUS. It does conform to the comprehensive plan. It's designated for low-density residential use. There will not be an adverse effect on the value and usability of nearby properties. Is it suitable in view of other nearby uses? Yes, other properties on Limerick Road are zoned R2 and have manufactured homes on them. The zoning proposal will not create an undue burden on transportation. This would not allow for a short-term gain at the expense of long-term goals. This could possibly cause a domino effect along Lake Drive. There are no unique historical sites noted. This property is not in a flood zone. The flood zone is across the street, but doesn't reach this property. There is no spot zoning going on, and we have no unique conditions to support approval or denial. So we are recommending approval with standard conditions.
Okay, District 4, you said? Let's say rezoning, so she had those people in the blue or green said yay.
Yes, ma'am.
But there were no nays?
No nays.
Okay.
Most of these lots that are not blued in are empty, so.
Okay, all right. But either way, how do the mail out still went to whatever address we had on file for those?
Sorry?
The mail out still went to whatever address we had on
Yes,
file?
sir. Even if people don't live on the lots, they
Yeah.
have to address their.
We didn't get any no's back in the mail?
No, sir.
All right, Commissioner Bowens?
Any objections to this?
No, sir. We had no objections to it.
I recommend approval. If you're ready.
You ready?
I second, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second, we approve the rezoning petition for this lot. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, rezoning is approved.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Need a motion to go back in.
Yes, sir.
Just again, for the video and
Make
the
sure,
audio,
okay.
it'd be 6 all in favor and 1 absent from the vote.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. Motion to go back in regular session.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Back in the regular session.
Mr. Chair, can I be excused?
That be excused? Yeah. Have I got no? Okay, I'm good. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Gotta go clock in.
RV Park.
All right, I'm going to have Mr. Ricketson take over for me here.
Hey, you going, Justin? Yeah, maybe we get back on schedule now.
Jeff, this is your baby?
We got enough? Who's that?
Yeah, we got enough. We got 4.
Good man, good. He left? Oh,
Yeah, he's right there. Oh, wait a minute.
Good evening, Chairman Levitt, members of the commission.
I know Pat left too.
If you'll let me just give you a little context, I'd like to take you back 7 months ago before this pandemic wreaked havoc on everybody's lives. 7 months ago this week, you were considering a mixed-use PUD in Newport that involved some RV parks, and you approved that night, but as a result of that, we began putting together some standards for RV parks and how to deal with RV parks. So in February, I presented to you a proposed RV ordinance, and you authorized us to go ahead and take that to the Planning Commission for a public hearing, and they did that, and they made some changes to that. So what I'd like to do is just kind of, I think you all have a copy of the what the Planning Commission approved, and what I'd like to do is just kind of go through that and just kind of give you a little bit of a summary of what they approved. It's very similar to what you all approved, but I just wanted to kind of go over it with you and just show you. You may recall that in the proposed ordinance that we had back in February, we were proposing that mobile home, or excuse me, that RV parks be treated very similar to your mobile homes in the county, that they be allowed in the R4 zoning district. And then we, of course, the standards for RV parks would be in Chapter 24, which is not zoning. The only thing that really we changed in the zoning ordinances, Appendix A is just saying that they're only allowed in R4 zones. Beyond that, all the standards for RV parks would be in Chapter 24, which is your mobile home ordinance, and we've just added that, adapted that to allow for RV parks as well. If you'll turn over in your handout to the RV standards, back on page 4, that's really where the Planning Commission did most of its work. And just like to kind of, it's very similar to what we reported previously, but some of the things that were suggested at the public hearing at the Planning Commission, that the Planning Commission thought were valid and worth considering, were the weather alert system. We got a comment on that, recommending that each RV park have a weather alert system, given the fact that we live in a coastal area, just to warn folks that might be in the park if there is an imminent threat of weather. So that was something that's been included in here. If you'll flip over to the next page, the green space and recreational area, there was a good bit of discussion among the Planning Commission about requiring green space in these RV parks, and Planning Commission settled on a recommendation of 20% of the usable area in that RV park should be an open space or green space area, and that's exclusive of wetlands and marshlands. So you can't just set aside your junk land. You got to have good land that's available for the tenants of that RV park to be able to go out and walk the dog and enjoy. In addition to that, 10% of the area would need to be active recreational area as well. So really, you get down to the 20% open space and the 10% recreational area. You really have 70% left, and that's what would comprise the lots that would be for the RVs. In addition to that, lighting, there was concern about our proximity to the coast and how that might affect wildlife and sea turtles and so forth. So they felt like that provision should be in there to provide for all lighting to be environmentally friendly and be downward directed instead of upward directed. So that's an addition. That was an additional thing that they recommended. In addition to that, they wanted to have there would be no accessory buildings on the RV sites. You could just have, as we said before, the sites would be 30 by 70, but you can't have any accessory buildings, no storage buildings on the sites. And in addition to that, they wanted to, the Planning Commission recommended that you have some limits on the duration of stay to protect from some other more notorious campgrounds where people just live. They just live permanently. So you can only stay there for 6 months, and then you have to check out for at least 2 weeks, and then you can come back and stay more if you really love Liberty County and want to be here in a camping mode, but you can't just live here permanently in one of these RV parks.
How would you enforce that?
That would be the duty of the Building and Licensing Department, and it would have to, the ordinance says, as written, says that the park owner, the owner or operator of the park will keep a chronological RV lot guest register showing the arrival and departure dates of each vehicle. Registers shall be open for the Liberty County Building and Licensing Department and/or the LCPC office, as the case may be, to review and be made available. And so it's really going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, to enforce this, but at least there's a provision there that says they have to keep these records and show people came when they left and have a
Mr. Brown.
guidelines.
Mr. Brown, so would they get like a 6-month sticker kind of thing?
I mean, that would really, enforcement's going to be kind of difficult, just as it will be with the weather alert system. They can have it, but to make sure it's functional. Even more concerned about that, to tell you the truth. No, sir, the best thing you can do is have a guest in and guest out log in that RV park and just kind of check it. Although pretty easy to show somebody leaving one day and coming back the next and satisfy the ordinance requirements. So it's kind of more of an honor system and probably alert system than anything.
And that's more than good enough.
Yeah.
That's more than sufficient. The honor system is more than sufficient. Care.
Yeah, is there anything in here about disabled vehicles?
No, this doesn't address disabled vehicles. It says you can't park big trucks within the.
Big trucks, but
Yeah.
what about
There's nothing about junk vehicles in this ordinance. I think you've got a separate ordinance that deals with maybe junk vehicles as a nuisance if somebody just leaves a vehicle on the property.
So that would float into this?
Yeah, that would work independently of this, but, you know, if somebody abandons a vehicle, you do have the ability to get that vehicle picked up and impounded or removed. It would involve, I guess it would involve the sheriff's office, since it's a motor vehicle.
Mr. Chairman, I think probably what he's talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Stevens, would be somebody that has a drivable mobile home or a drivable RV moves in there and all of a sudden the tires are flat and all those type of things. That would not fall under that abandoned vehicle ordinance. So that is kind of a concern. And a lot of these, quite honestly, come from concerns of another area that was an RV resort. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
Because
But
all
it
these
can be
things-
done. There are a lot of nice RV parks privately owned in the state of Georgia, and, I mean, you don't go in there and see a lot of that. So they're able to keep it, I think, pretty strict to their ordinance, whatever county they may be in.
Almost like you need a HOA.
Well, I mean, in this case, the RV park is a unified development that would be managed by an owner or an operator of a.
Hold him or her responsible.
Well, I mean, nobody's gonna rent the spots next to them if they drive through it and say, hey, that's just a pile of junk. I mean, I'm like Commissioner Thrift. I just recently, drove 500 miles, and I had the opportunity to just pull in to see 3 of them, and was real impressed at the way they were set up, and access in and access out, one way in, one way out. So, didn't have a bunch of people piling in there from other areas, so it was pretty nice. I didn't see any broke-down vehicles, but I could see what Commissioner Stevens was talking about. Somebody bring a Winnebago in there and leaves it, but that land, whoever owns that park's not gonna put up with that. He'll have it drug out.
All right, okay.
Be up to him to
And we
move
could
around.
always, I mean, probably be good to just insert some brief language that, drivable, mobile, however that's
Right, okay.
officially, that they've got to be able to be moved.
It does say that they have to be registered, but, register, having it registered and having it operable are two different
Two
words.
different words.
Gotta have a tag on it.
That's right.
Did we address anywhere, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, if I may ask this, did we address in here about, and it may not be in this one, it's like concrete pads or dirt pads?
Yes, they have to be concrete pads.
All the
There has to be a concrete, a 30 by, let me look at the specific.
I mean, it'll be up to him, I guess, to bring you the layout of how he's going to do it?
Yes, I mean, each one would have to be approved. In this case, since it's in the unincorporated county, it would have to be approved by Mr. Zeckman's office. But the paved portion of the lot has got to be a 10 by 40 concrete area for the RV itself, and then a 10 by 30 parking space for an automobile as well. So there's got to be a minimum amount of concrete on each lot for a guest vehicle and the camper itself.
And, okay. Yeah, I think it'd be nice if he adheres to what, hopefully.
Okay, sir. All right.
Mr. Chairman, that's really all I had. If
It should sound much better on the second reading.
Sure does.
Well, if you, I would recommend, given the fact that we had this break, I mean, I presented it to you in February, Planning Commission acted on it in February, later in February. We had advertised it to come back before you, and then you had the interruption of the COVID. So I would recommend that if you really want to move forward with this, I would recommend that you defer action until September and let us advertise it, because part of this is zoning, and that has specific notice requirements. So if you want to move forward with acting on this, just let us advertise it and bring it back to you in September.
I think it's a consensus to move forward, am I right? Yes, sir.
You probably could have got a vote tonight.
I'm ready.
Yeah. If you wanted one tonight, you could have got one.
Yeah, but I'd rather not be subject to challenge by a lawyer later on who doesn't like.
Pressure luck.
Mr. Brown will get with you on the little
Absolutely, we can.
insert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda, you're up.
Okay. All right. Then the government bond purchase agreement.
Yes, sir. they had put that on the calendar to have actions tonight. They're still trying to finalize that.
Okay.
In fact, the rates are even better.
Mhm.
So he's asked to defer that.
What is this, a grocery store, IGA?
They need one in Midway, they say.
We heard, did all of us hear the presentation?
This month?
Was everybody here?
For which-
Or,
For the.
The bond purchase?
no, sir, that's what I said. They're still working on that.
Yeah, but I was
And
wondering,
so
did everybody hear the?
Yes, sir. He's
Which one?
trying to, they got to finalize the rates in the document, so they'll come
Okay.
back.
Oh, okay.
They have to have it.
You're not talking about.
I want to
one
make
that-
sure if somebody wasn't present, they can get to,
Okay.
Oh, in the last
yes, sir.
presentation?
You can send them a
Yeah.
copy of them.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Okay, all right. All right. Ms. Lando, thank you for being so patient. We gotta find a way to put you on top of the agenda next
Yeah,
time.
she lives way down there on the coast.
Ah, she's tired.
Turn the lights back on so I can see. And I just want to say, I hope Mr. Clark Dryden's subdivision is not connected to Midway Water System.
Yeah, Yep.
Because we have
Yep.
practically
Hey,
no
hey,
water
you're not here to
pressure.
discuss that. Get on what-
You missed your time for that public. You just-
I'm just saying it has no pressure.
You missed your time for that public participation.
All right, we've had a lot of changes since I was here last. As y'all know, Miss Ella Golden retired after 45 years of service with this county, 35 of which was with our elections. Her daughter, Earlene, also left. July the 10th was her last day. And Mr. Russell Wells left our Board of Elections after many years. He left on the 27th, told us that was his last day. And we have the interim supervisor is Rhonda Walthour. Most of y'all know her by Rhonda Gross. She's been doing a good job so far, and it's only been 30 days, but she's been doing a good job. But she's been there since she was probably about 18, working elections with her mother over at Baptist Church. And in '06, she started as an employee, a regular employee, election office. And as y'all are aware, we're in our last week of the runoff for the U.S. Congressional District 1. Friday will end that at 5 o'clock. Election day is the 11th, which is next Tuesday. And the office has received so far 671 applications for absentee ballots, and 287 people have voted in person in the early voting in person, and that was as at 4:30 this afternoon. I got those totals. And on Thursday, they're going to start the early tabulation of the absentee ballots at 5 o'clock. So, and I'll invite y'all to go over and see the changes that have gone on in the office. There is quite a few. A lot of cleaning and a lot of moving stuff around. And it is looking nice over there. The staff really works hard now. I'm telling you, we've got a good start.
What do you mean now?
Well, there was
Did it work hard in the past?
some of them. We
All right,
had,
let's keep it in the middle of the road.
you know, some,
I don't want to interrupt, I'll let you get through, I had a question.
Yeah.
but we invite y'all to come over
I'm
and
gonna come
see
over.
the changes. And after the first of the year, we will be, announcing the space for a supervisor. We have no clue whether, Ms. Walthour will be the one or somebody else will be. We're waiting till after the November election. That's November the 3rd. And she is planning to try to open up 2 additional places for in-person voting, for the early voting, because we do know that election carries a lot. And with the 6 foot apart and don't know what the weather will be like in November, we'd like to get them in and out as quickly as possible. So I think it would be a wise thing. We're looking maybe to open one on the west side off of Airport Road, or maybe 84 down that way, one that's already our precincts. Then we're going to try to move the one from here to the Schumann Center, which would give them more parking and be more convenient. And we wanted to do one maybe at the Performing Arts Center. We're not sure whether we'll be able to do that or not. We have to try that and see. I'm not sure how far along she is on that. That's about my,
Then I got a question for you. Have you got the bugs worked out of your machines? I know when I went in
we're
and
working
voted,
on
I
them.
voted the last time, you had to push the thing 2 or 3 times in order
We
to vote.
working
I
on
started not to vote. I thought it was all cast and done.
Well,
Luckily, I called it.
listen, that was all over the state, not just here.
I'm asking you right now, are those machines fixed? Oh, you still don't know? Oh, y'all don't know if they're working now or not?
They were working then, as far as we knew, but we didn't know. Nobody ever said
Well, I don't think
anything
they were
about that.
that way all over the county. Just in that,
You might not have been operating it right.
Miss Martin, Miss Martin,
You might not have.
Operator error.
you say you've got things straightened out over there. I mean, can somebody come in and, like, you got a vote machine over there that somebody can come in and you can say, here's our new vote machines, this is how you operate. Y'all got one set up in there?
Like a
Now, take Pat over there one day this week and show him how to use
I know
them.
how to operate a machine. You probably didn't vote. You probably voted by mail.
All right, call the order. Call the order.
Push my button.
Call the order.
Everything machine.
I believe
You're on Facebook Live, call the order.
What your problem was that day?
They were all, it was that, everybody was that way. Everybody went in there, they had to do the same thing. I had people complaining.
Well, we had nobody
I don't even think
complain
my
about
vote even
that.
got cast, huh?
I don't remember anybody complaining about that. Oh, you know, there were no calls.
Let it go, Linda, let it go. You weren't even working that day, if I'm not mistaken. You said you were sick,
Oh,
you never even
yes.
showed up.
Oh,
So
yes.
how would you even know?
Oh, yes, because I
You
saw
told me you never
you.
even showed up.
I saw you standing over there, and I said, I sure wish Pat had a read
You
about.
weren't in there.
Yes, I was.
She was there.
Complained to you, and you said.
All right, that's a sidebar. That's a sidebar.
Not that day. Not
That
on
was the
that
day of the election.
That's a sidebar.
Punching the button.
Ms. Martin?
Ms. Martin, I
Yeah.
got a question for
Yeah,
Ms.
you-
You're
Martin.
not
Yeah.
correct, because they were 3 or 4 attendants came over to where I was at, and you weren't concerned?
I wasn't
There
in,
was 3,
Commissioner
you
Bowens?
were there.
Commissioner Bowens?
when
if
I
I-
was in there,
I'm just asking if you got machines.
you were
fixed.
standing there by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you got.
Y'all talk about, Commissioner Stevens has a question for you.
Ms. Martin, I mentioned it last meeting, and I mention it to you now. We need to consider another pole on the east end due to the distance from, I'm gonna use Yeoman Road all the way to the complex.
Right.
I think it's all between 15 and 16 miles that they have to drive to vote. And so you can take that back to your board and, you know,
Have to consider that, but, if you're going to bring on a new precinct, it takes 60 to 90 days to get that approved.
right, but at least we can
We're
start.
gonna be pushing
Right, yeah,
right on it.
right.
If we don't get it this year, maybe we can in the future.
Right, at least put it on your radar screen.
Right, we will bring that up.
Okay.
And I'll see
Thank you.
about that.
But you're feeling good about being prepared for November?
We're working better. We had a different technician with the machines that, Dominion, who is the one the machines came from. The lady that was over there, she is at another place now. And we have a young man from Martinez, I believe is where he said he lives. And he's been over there, and he's been truly a real warrior working over there. He's helped do a lot of stuff over there that nobody ever bothered to help with. We don't have quite as much stuff stacked everywhere now. We have 2 rooms that you can't get in or out of. But outside of that, this gentleman, his name is Ben. I don't know his last name, but his first name's Ben. And he's a technician with Dominion. And after the November election, I believe we won't have them anymore because they only guaranteed them for 1 year with you. And in November, March, whenever the last election was, I did see Mr. Bowen, and I do understand that there was a lot of, the machines had been plugged in improperly. There maybe was 2 holes back there or something, and they plugged it in the wrong one. The technician went out, straightened those things out. That could have been the issue. And I do know there was an issue with the pole pads that day. Nobody got their pole pads. That's why everybody was late opening up. Some had electricity problems. The receptacle's there, but there was no power to it in some of the places. When they found out all that, and then we did add minutes that night, and everybody's aware of. And it was ever how many minutes this place was late opening, that place. That's how many minutes they stayed open.
Yeah. Last thing, are you still searching for a location? You were looking around for storage space? Okay.
Mr. Brown and myself just discussed that.
Did you? Okay.
You know,
Okay.
he's guaranteed me he's going to solve that problem.
He'll find it. He'll find it.
Isn't that what you said?
Thank you, ma'am, for the update. We look forward to it.
Thank you.
Some of us are going to stop over and see.
Please do. It's quite different, and I believe the ladies are truly working, trying to get it all straightened out. And we still have a lot to do. There's books over there that should have been trashed long years ago, but they're still there, 1985.
Okay.
Forth.
All right, well, just let your board know that they have our support.
Thank you, we appreciate that.
And thank you for what you do.
We will check on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Ms. Martin.
2020 Edward Ryan Grant, I guess, law enforcement.
Yes, sir. This is something that the Sheriff's Department generally applies with the city for. You get extra points. Has to be a multi-agency type grant to come. And they're wanting us to do the intergovernmental agreement again with the city of Hinesville so that the city and county can take advantage of that. The city is going to get 2 pieces of equipment, $8,600 a grant award, and then the county would get the rest. The grant award, total grant award is $11,017. And our recommendation is to do the agreement again. Been very successful before.
I heard the folk from Chattanooga County talking about this on TV the other day.
Yeah.
Chair, entertain a motion.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Yeah, I wasn't the only one.
All in favor? All right. Administrative report.
Just real quickly, a couple things. I'll turn it over to Mr. Mosley real quick to talk about the campaign for the COVID campaign. Just calendar-wise, just the ribbon cutting at the Isle of Wight Fire Station, 10 o'clock a.m. on August 28th. That is the only thing that I see really on the calendar right now other than just normal meetings. We did do an update this morning, had our construction progress meeting at the Islands Fire Station. That is still on track. Been no miss, don't see anything coming at all with any kind of delays in that as far as material delivery, material supplies. So all that's real good. So both of those are on track. I can tell you that we do have applications out for the first round of employment for full-time firefighters. Those are going very well. We do anticipate of having that first round hired and have them on board by September, which would be great. It's right on target. And then after they come on, we'll start that phase in of the others that's approved in the budget. So all that's going very well. And you had asked last time, the commission had asked that we establish as a staff some kind of campaign associated with information on the COVID. So I'll let Mr. Mosley run over that now, and I think he's provided some information already for you.
Joe, I have one question about you're talking about staff in the fire stations. So when we hire a fireman, is he already a certified fireman, or do they get hired and then we send them off to?
We are advertising for certified firefighters.
Okay.
Come on, certified.
So they'll be coming ready to fight fires
Ready to go.
they want. Okay.
When will we go back out and say, you got some people that's going to what, Savannah?
Savannah Tech,
Whenever they do go back.
yeah, right.
How will we look at them? Will we consider them while they're going?
Well, I'm lost. Going back to,
You know, the Savannah Tech started the firefighters program working with the Career Academy. They had some students that were in the classes, but I'm not sure what happened with all
you're
of them.
talking about the ones that were in there?
Yeah, I'm not sure where they are, or how
I'm
far
not sure where they
along.
are either. I'd be glad to check and find out, or whether they're going to pursue that or what
Yeah.
they're going to do, you know.
They were in the early stages of that,
They
so
were.
I'm not, yeah.
We'll continue that, by the way.
But it'd be good to use, I don't know if we
Oh,
can.
absolutely. In
Yeah.
fact, most of those people that are coming over are already certified, were on our part-time list. They are kind of grown in-house. They've been with us for a while. They've been pretty diligent, so.
Mr.
Now, the
Chairman,
ones that are, also the ones that are being hired, they are, Smith?
Pat was saying
Oh,
something.
the ones that are being hired now. In emergency service, you may have someone else, let's say the chairman Lovett, let's say he's a firefighter, and he works for Southside. But then he comes over here and he wants to work on his days off.
Great question.
I hope the ones that are being hired now, Liberty County will be their primary place at all times.
We had that discussion the other day, and they, to answer your question, very strongly, yes. In fact, if they're even going to work somewhere else, that has to be approved. It has to be submitted and approved with stipulations. So we do have that process. Yes, sir, they are.
Commissioner Moore, you had something? Sir?
Yeah, I was asking, is there a panel? Who's hiring these firemen?
There's not no, sir, there's not a panel.
So who's hiring them?
Actually, the fire chief and deputy chief would do the screening of those.
None of the commissioners are on that panel?
No, sir, we don't do that with any employees.
Huh?
We don't do that with any employees.
No, we don't need to do that.
Commission, we don't have a commission panel that hires
We are the
employees.
appeal board.
Because you're the appeal board, and so if they're terminated by
So the
me.
fire chief hired everybody under them right now? So the fire chief, because you got one fire chief, and evidently he's hired everybody. So whomever.
Yeah, so fire chief and deputy chief and public
Wait a
safety
minute, before
director.
you got the deputy chief, who hired the deputy chief? The fire chief?
Correct.
That's what I'm asking.
And the public safety director. So the three, correct. So the three of those will screen applications for the firefighters.
all right,
Yeah.
I wanted to jump off the fire right quick. I was going to ask that we need to review, like, the convenience centers that are in the unincorporated area, because I think that the county has really outgrown them, even, in my district, and then what we've seen here tonight. But I would like for us to look at that.
So as a matter of fact, coincidentally, when we were talking about that center's outgrown, the Gum Branch Center's outgrown, you already had some discussion about doing that. Culbertson is in, as you recall, doing the fee analysis now. So I need actually he and Trent and us to engage with Clinton on looking at all the centers.
Yes.
What the capacity is. I mean, they've been in place for 25 years. They've served well, but there may need to be some expansion of that. We set ourselves up perfect for the Miller Park to do that because you bought some extra property to be able to look at that. So there is land available now for that site, but we need to look at all of them.
So is that something that y'all are going to do while he's here?
I made a note, in fact, when we were looking at that, and mentioned to Joseph, we need to engage that as a process now, to look at all the sites and bring that back to the commission and get too deep in that.
Okay, well, we need to-
Rerouting of the intersection right there at Islands, if there's a way to take that road and turn it behind the convenience center and get it away from that intersection, it doesn't need to come out at the intersection, so.
Is that something like a 6 months timeline that we would know, or?
I think that probably it's something that the engineer in Clinton and we need to engage with as staff and size out. Well, I tell you, I would think 30, 45 days.
Okay,
We can do at least a preliminary analysis and look at options.
okay, Mr. Chairman.
One step further, reason I say that too, though, is if there are going to be some enhancements that need to be made, change out that may affect the fee schedule, not that negatively, but that's what we need to consider too. If anything's got to be done in that expansion process, we need to consider it while Culbertson's doing his fee analysis
Okay,
for capital improvements. He helps us with the capital improvement budget, and that's where that would be built in.
all right.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Mr. Mosley?
Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Commissioners, as Mr. Brown stated, y'all requested Mr. Brown to provide a public education campaign. The focus that you all were talking about was mandatory versus motivation, and the board agreed that we wanted to go to a motivation perspective. And so what you have before you is a committee that Mr. Brown appointed. It consisted of Ms. Laura Troutman, Ms. Leah Poole, Mr. Clint Stanley, Mr. Joe Parker, Mr. Brown, Mr. Mosley, Mr. Murray, and Commissioner Frazier joined in. We came up with 4 strategies. You notice with strategy 1, it was the use of the media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and the website for posting. And from there was to design some 1-minute videos. And point number 2, A through F, are basically the different representatives that we thought could come in and participate. For instance, on number 1, our chairman being the leadoff, as well as other interested commissioners who want to participate, people from the business sector, people from the youth commission, people from the ministerial allowance, social civic clubs, fraternities, representatives from the Minority Chamber of Commerce, and just people from different aspects of life coming in and shooting a video. Clint has done an awesome job, and he would be our point person there to help us put together a video. But of course, place all those videos on all our social media sites and websites, developing an informational infographic that we could put on our website and other social media sites. One of the outstanding things came up was having a live, Facebook Live town hall meeting where the public can interact with health officials. If y'all recall, Dr. Davis came in a couple months ago and provided this board with an update in terms of what was going on with COVID in the district, but he's well suited to provide us specific numbers in terms of what's going on with us in Liberty County, and using him as a resource. And people could write in through Facebook and ask him questions. And also representatives from Liberty Regional, as well as Diversity Health, having them on separate Facebook Live opportunities. And using the transcripts from that to move to a podcast, so it will be available in different means. Also using a campaign of having local citizens who wear their branded masks to post them on our websites to show what's being done. And we've seen that in a couple places, in a couple communities like Athens, Clark County, and some other communities throughout the nation who are doing that. And of course, to use the existing resources that we have through videos by the Coastal Health District to place them on our websites to inform the public about ways to focus on fighting against COVID-19 spread. And of course, using materials from the Georgia Safety Promise Program. The second strategy was to utilize the print media, and Mr. Parker facilitated getting Mr. Neely involved with the Coastal Courier to do a column. And then also utilizing the e-blast from the Recreation Department as well as the Chamber to send out messages about logo branding and safety information. And one of the other proposals under that area was using weekly blogs to distribute information. Strategy number 3 focus on using promotional products, developing and design a logo, and we'll talk about that as we conclude. Provide digital files once the logo is selected by this group using it, providing the people to be a Zoom profile as well as a banner for social media and websites. And then item number 2 is where we can is provide free masks to business for customers, and then provide free masks to the general public. And then lastly is using other mediums such as digital billboards and marquees. You'll notice on the first sheet, you'll notice that Ms. Leopold designed the campaign that the group REACH recommend is a Mask of Liberty. You'll notice on the front there are, on the front of the proposal was our potential logos, and then Mr. Fraser said, hey, look, I got a person that could design it. So you have the 2 here that were part of the proposal, and then later on I placed this one here that Commissioner Fraser had designed. So one of the things that we would love to have the commissioner do is to choose or select a logo that we could go with the program of the campaign.
Good night.
Night.
There's only 3 choices.
Are you gonna buy some masks with it?
Well, so we had discussion, you know,
Y'all had that discussion?
the masks are pretty expensive with logos. And
Okay.
so I think what we would encourage, I mean, maybe we can have an outlet where folks could purchase some masks at a reduced rate. But as far as the county buying screened mask, it was pretty expensive. And we did get 5,000, I believe, surgical masks that could be used as part of the campaign to do that. Larry and those and Robert over at EMA.
Got them, huh?
Helped, got that approved, so that's good too.
Okay. So you working on a choice?
Got a wrap, Joe.
I don't know.
That's it?
I like the top one.
That's it?
What do you like?
What? Oh, well, I can't see it from over here.
You don't have a copy? You don't
How
have?
would it look with the red, white, and blue, though?
Yeah, I think there needs to be more color in
More
it.
color.
I like this.
Just more color.
I'll put mine up.
Same thing, it's just kind of showing that.
The bottom one.
One big page.
How about the bottom one?
I like the top one, but I like the, just, it needs a
Well, I
little more.
think there needs to be color in here.
Yeah.
So you like the top one, but with more color?
Yeah.
Some type of color in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe do the red, white, and
You
blue.
notice the outline of the county and the P? Outline of Liberty County?
Just tell Lou we need more color.
Okay.
This concept, but this,
Another concept, more color, okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Red, white, and blue.
Right, okay.
yeah. Okay,
You can give us different renditions of,
right.
And I assume this is the county map
that's the kind
in
of.
the P. Okay, that looks good.
Okay. So the top one,
Yes, sir.
the top one on the top.
With a little bit color.
Right.
Joy, are we providing masks for people that come into both
Yes, ma'am.
buildings, all 3 of our buildings up here?
Yes, ma'am, in fact, we're doing it countywide. So because we require it countywide, every one of our buildings have masks available and sanitizer.
Okay, well, I went to the Justice Center last week, and they did my temperature.
Right, we're doing temperature check, you know, the emergency order that was signed requires temperature checks and masking in the county facilities.
Some do that. No?
I'll get with you, we'll double, yeah.
We'll let the commissioner in.
Oh,
That was good.
yeah, that's kind of out of our control, that facility. You know,
So there was 2 nice young ladies up there. I was wondering, Who's paying
Huh. Okay.
with the mom? In a little booth, it looked like it may have been homemade.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Sheriff's Department. Sheriff's Department, yeah.
I can go over and see. Yeah, and the judges have a special requirement for the judicial order. But I'll go over and I'll see what's going on.
It didn't bother me, but,
She just
Other than
didn't expect it.
I didn't have.
Got one interest. Okay.
They must didn't know.
Yeah. Anything else, sir, for good order?
That's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Just, questions. What's the procedure for having an executive session?
Personnel or land?
Personnel, land, consultation with attorney concerning a legal matter, real estate, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I say land, real estate.
Issue that, and I'll be straight up, it's an issue on some paperwork that I received, and I wanted to, we can just go over it with the board. I know we probably can't do it again tonight, because probably, that should have been probably asked at the beginning of the meeting. Was there anything to be amended to the meeting?
Well, and again, probably the safest thing to do is, let's get a look at that paperwork, let the county attorney look at it, and make sure it
If it
qualifies.
qualifies, yeah.
Because it has a name on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, again,
Yeah, that doesn't make it
probably let's
qualify,
get
though.
Kelly's take on it, would be the safe thing to do.
All right, y'all good?
Yes, sir.
Chair, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?